Welcome to Money Matriarchs with Dr. Laura Mattia, where we inspire you to harness the power of money for good. Together, we will hear motivational stories, meet encouraging role models, and explore financial strategies that can make a difference in our lives, our families, and beyond. We're in this together. Now, please welcome your host, Dr. Laura.
Inspiring women to harness the power of money for good. That's our tagline. Well, you might be asking, good for what? Good for the individual, good for her family, good for the community. Well, our next guest knows what it means to be doing good for the community. She is the president and CEO of the Community Foundation of Sarasota County and has been since March of 2011. Her name is Roxie Jerde, and she is the quintessential money matriarch, where she is inspiring the community to harness the power of money for good and philanthropy. She is somebody I admire, and I really find her very inspirational, and I hope you do too. So I'm so glad to have her. Roxie, thank you for being here today.
Well, thank you for giving me this opportunity, and thank you for serving on our board. We are delighted that you're a servant leader and serving on our board and co-chairing our investment
It's
committee.
such my pleasure.
Well, and using your financial acumen as well to help advance the Community Foundation. So thank you for serving.
Well, thanks. Okay. Roxie, there's so many questions that I want to ask you and so many things that I want to talk to you about. But if we could focus a little bit just on philanthropy in general, and this show is geared towards talking to women to harness the power of money for good. Although we hope that men will enjoy it as well, we really are looking towards women to inspire them. And so I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about philanthropy and women and what you see in terms of the gender differences. Are there gender differences?
Through the years that I've worked in the community foundation field, almost 22 years in the community foundation space, we've worked a lot with widows. As we know, women tend to outlive men. Obviously, we work with couples as well. I have seen, and research bears it out as well, women are more motivated by compassion, wanting to do good in their community, to solve problems in their community that they see and the concern that they have. And they want to see an impact, results of what their dollars are doing. Men care about those things, but research again bears this out. They're much more motivated by the tax consequences, the financial planning, and the financial aspects of charitable giving, of which there are many. Our government encourages people to be philanthropic, providing some tax benefits for dollars to do good.
Yep.
So women care about that as well, but we'll often see that in conversations from beginning ones to as time goes on, that it may be a more financial interest of men, and women want the compassion that they have really shows through. Oftentimes, if somebody they know was impacted by something, that really motivates them to find a way to give back.
Right. And I think the research has shown that women are more interested in things like healthcare and education, but there are other areas as well that the Community Foundation supports.
Human services is a big area as well. And also the arts and cultural mecca that we live in, we see donors supporting ways of access to the arts for perhaps those that don't have opportunities. So there's lots of ways if you're focused on families with low incomes, moving to more financial stability and security, but providing opportunities that our community has, particularly in the cultural and arts area.
One of the things that I recall years ago, I read a journal article in the Journal of Human Sciences, and specifically it was asking who makes the decisions in a marriage philanthropically. And I remember one of the things that it brought up was that women tend to like to give smaller amounts to more charities, which I think opens the door specifically for a community foundation where you can do something like that.
Absolutely. We work a lot with individuals who give through what we call a donor advised fund, and they can give to multiple nonprofits. And we see people as they start learning more, a lot of times will gravitate to larger grants and fewer focus areas. So it's interesting to see as they're like, maybe if I focus some and I gave larger amounts of money and my time, perhaps serving on boards to be a companion piece, so to say, for my dollar giving, as well as volunteering. Women volunteer so much more than men. And research also shows if you're volunteering, you're going to give more.
Because you're paying attention to what's going on, and
Well, you're
you see
feeling
the
it
need.
firsthand.
Right.
Absolutely. And people who give and volunteer, they live longer, they're happier, they have social
Mm.
connections that really are benefiting them for a happier life.
Yes, we had that wonderful social scientist come to our retreat, Sarah
Conrad?
Conrath. She's done a lot of work around
Oh,
how giving and being philanthropic can help somebody in terms of their own health. Even just logically, doesn't it make sense? You get out of yourself.
so
For people that are in depression or people that are struggling through some issue in life, and a lot of people are struggling these days, if they could take a moment and just do something for somebody else, sometimes it can be enough to turn things around.
be that spark to get them on a better pathway. So just knowing all of those aspects as well. And Dr. Sarah Conrath is an assistant professor or associate at the Lilly School of Philanthropy at Indiana University. So she really enlightened us about, wow, this is a great board to be on and a field to be in.
Absolutely. So
You're
yeah,
going to live longer and be happier.
hopefully we all are. And
Yeah.
happier certainly is
Yeah.
something that we all strive for. Just as an aside, one of the things about that research when I read it was that they talked about the general expenditures that a couple would make in a household, and how they make decisions between each other, that in a household where the couple is philanthropic, that usually it's the man's preferences that supersede the women's. And so I don't know if women are conscious of that, but if you're listening to us, maybe see if you can be a little bit more vocal about what your
Speak up.
desires are,
Right,
because
right.
I think that women have some great ideas and some great passion to help, and we want to encourage that because it's a good thing,
Absolutely.
right? But you didn't just wake up one morning and decide to become a CEO of a community foundation. I mean, how does somebody find their way into your career path?
It's a little unusual. That is true. And I did not wake up desiring to be the CEO of a community foundation. I did find my way to the community foundation world in my 50s, early mid 50s. And I had worked in business. I have an MBA in finance and organizational behavior, an undergrad degree in marketing and management. However, I started in nursing. So as I look
Interesting.
back, I'm like, there was this desire to
Help people.
help people, so to say.
Yep.
And so that was where I started my college career, if you will, but then switched to business, which was a good thing. But I worked at Hallmark Cards in Kansas City for a number of years. And even in some ways, that whole company is about relationships with other people and the socialness, if you will, if you think about what cards and gifts and all that are. So in some ways, working there was affirming my desire on connection and working with people. I found my way to the Greater Kansas City Community Foundation,
Okay.
which is the third largest in the country by its philanthropic asset size, and just learned how much I loved that work.
Mm.
I had been on boards and was doing a lot of board service work, but as far as really understanding what makes an effective nonprofit, what makes an efficient one, I helped launch what we call the Giving Partner here, but that nonprofit database when I was at the Greater Kansas City Community Foundation. And that was really my entree into understanding nonprofits better. And this database has just been such a marvelous resource for donors and for nonprofits to have a roadmap of how can I be a better organization.
Yeah, I'd like you to speak a little more about the Giving Partner and the Giving Challenge. I think we've collected, when I say we, I mean, I'm
You're
just
on the board, yes.
We've collected over what, 100
Well,
million?
92 million. We're close to 100.
Okay.
So we're having our 10th challenge.
That'll
Most
catapult it
likely,
over.
it'll definitely get us over the total raise. But while that number is is huge. So 24 hours of giving, these challenges we do, you as a nonprofit locally have to have a giving partner profile. So you can go to our website, www.thegivingpartner.org and the Community Foundation's website to get there. But we had 724 local nonprofits participate in this 24 hours of giving.
Unbelievable.
And they have an updated profile. And kudos to these nonprofits. It shows they're transparent about their operations. Here's our financials, our board. Here's the results of our programs, how we're accomplishing our mission. So this 24 hours of giving, our most recent one, raised $17.2 million for our local community. Those are unrestricted dollars that the nonprofits get to determine, what do I need to advance my organization? What I love is we had 53,000 unique individuals. Minimum amount is $25. We are so fortunate. The Patterson Foundation, the local private foundation, they match every gift up to $100 per person, per organization, unlimited.
Right.
Which is like, wow.
That is amazing.
That motivates giving.
So really the whole giving partner, giving challenge is the epitome of what the Community Foundation is really all about. You're not necessarily looking for people to just give to the Community Foundation. You're looking to facilitate the process of giving, almost as an intermediary to inspire donors to support not-for-profits. It's quite an endeavor.
Well, you need someone who is pulling all this together with the platform, the infrastructure, how do we train nonprofits to maximize this online giving opportunity. And it was important to me when I arrived here 13 years ago that we not only had opportunities to work with individual donors on a donor advised fund, as you know, much of what we do is what they want their legacy to be. We work with so many generous people who have built this wealth over their lifetime and they want to leave it to do good.
Right.
So we receive millions of dollars in estate gifts from donors who want into perpetuity what they cared about to continue to strengthen community. So we got that figured out on working with people on their legacy giving and giving while they're living. And it was important to me that everyone felt I can give no matter what. I don't have to be a zillionaire to be philanthropic. And it's a way to unite the community as well.
One of the things that I was just thinking about was when Hurricane Ian came through, and within a week, you had organized within a day. Excuse me. You had organized an event at the Van Wezel with the Sarasota Orchestra, and people could come and hear the orchestra for as little as $25.
That was the orchestra and the Van Wezel calling me. We got the website up and the fundraising opportunity to support people impacted by Hurricane Ian the day after the hurricane. I mean, we got it up when we realized this is going to be a major hurricane. We were able to mobilize getting an opportunity for people to give, and Patterson Foundation had a match with that. And Joe McKenna at the orchestra and Mary Benzel at Van Wezel called me and said, we want all the proceeds to benefit your Suncoast Disaster Recovery Fund. And it was in a week. You're exactly right. We couldn't believe it. They sold it out, $25 every ticket. And what they loved, there were so many people there that had never heard the orchestra.
Right. Well, so you opened up several doors. You opened up the door to people that had never had the privilege of hearing the orchestra. You also opened the idea to people, even $25 makes a difference. And your $25 will contribute to helping the community rebuild
from the devastation that happened. So I also think people were like, well, if you weren't impacted personally, but you saw what was happening, what can I do? And it gave you an outlet to do something.
Right. Absolutely. And somehow we gathered over 5 million.
Yeah, over 5 million. And people all over the country gave, predominantly local, but we had people from community foundations across the country that also saw what had happened here and wanted to just the kindness of their heart. I got to help.
Yes. And I don't know if you're going to admit to this, but when you say all over the country, that was your doing, I believe. A lot of your ability to kind of gather the troops.
Well,
And
I was fortunate. Not even a week after, I was asked to be on some national podcasts and some national
coincidentally,
webinars of what we were doing in Sarasota, how people could help. And that really helped spur a lot of contributions from throughout the country. And they knew we were going to be responsible. We were going to be excellent stewards. Their dollars were going to make a difference because somebody trusted with a really wonderful reputation in this community. We were going to be great stewards of those dollars. So I think the institution of community foundations and our fortunate reputation being here almost 45 years also contributed both locally and nationally to people knowing their dollars were going to be put to good use.
right. And I think when we talk about the gender split, one of the concerns among women is also, is this an organization I can trust? And I think that the Community Foundation of Sarasota County has completely demonstrated that this is an organization, again, clean audits. So we have accountants that come in and audit all the books. The administration fee is so minuscule. You guys really work really hard.
Well, we're running a business. So
Yes.
we manage over $500 million in assets, of charitable assets to do good. And being excellent stewards of those assets is paramount. That having a clean audit and having a really, really talented team that we have really ensures that we're running a business here and with a caring heart.
Yeah, I don't know if all not-for-profits view it that way as running a business. I think that it's very, very fortunate that you had come to the scene with your skills, your MBA, and your knowledge of how to run an efficient organization, regardless of whether it's for profit or not. But I know that you take it very personally that you're a fiduciary and people have entrusted you with their money.
Yeah.
And you take it very seriously, and that permeates throughout the organization.
I think we have built an organization that really has attracted some talented people. That obviously what we accomplish is because of our team and our great board, the support of the board. So we had an all staff meeting yesterday and we just talked about how fortunate we are to be in the business that we are, but we have to manage it well. So
That's
I'm
right.
proud of what we've been able, always can get better. We're always on a continuous improvement journey, so to say. But at the same time, how can we be innovative and how can we not accept the status quo? And how can we push new options to some of the problem solving here?
Right. And you have a great team. You've really done a great job at bringing a lot of smart, passionate, compassionate individuals.
To me, you have to have a caring heart to do this, but you
Mhm.
have to do it with some smarts as well. So being able to attract a team, I always say all of us are smarter than one of us. And it's true.
I love that quote.
It's true. And it's my own way to say somebody knows more about this than I do. Let's make sure that you've gathered that information or data knowledge to help make good decisions.
Well, also the combination, the 1 + 1 + 1 = 6. So that's great. So I wanted to just go back. So I mentioned, I think that there's a lot of not-for-profits in our community. Are there more in our community than there are in other areas? Or
We have a lot here. A lot of them are small, volunteer led. People have a personal passion that often they'll start a nonprofit. We have people coming to us, oh, I have this great idea. I want to start this nonprofit, might be retired, and now I have time for a passion. I want to do this. And Laura, you cannot believe how many times we hate to say that we burst a bubble, but we'll go, there's about 5 nonprofits that are doing what you're doing right now. So that's where the giving partner is so helpful that we can say, gosh, here's somebody in this same area. Let's connect you with them.
That's
That might
wonderful.
make more sense than starting your own. Sometimes there's a founder syndrome, and I want to do it my way.
Right.
And they're going to have to survive. They're going to have to raise money. They're going to have to show their programs are getting results. They're going to have to file a state solicit. I mean, there's a lot they got to do too, and do a 990 tax return. So we help people understand
It's a lot of
that
work.
there's a lot you have to do. And you just hate to see duplication of services if there is a way things can be brought together.
So I started a program called the Women's Money Empowerment, and it folded it into the Women's Resource Center. But it was something that I had fantasized about starting by myself.
Well,
And
there you go.
I realized it just wasn't, to just go with another organization. But that is important, I think, for people to think of also if you have been considering starting some type of not for profit, if you inspired in that way, the community foundation can help you with that as well. So they can help you with your money, but they can also help you with your talents,
right,
and shepherd you to the right individuals.
Right. If that's the avenue you want to go. And we also recently launched our community dashboard to really help us understand where are there opportunities for us to strengthen this community in health, in education, in housing, in human services, or economics. So how really can we move this community forward so everyone can thrive here? And we say that in all sincerity because there's a lot of people, they're working 2, 3 jobs, and our housing costs have just skyrocketed. And then you throw childcare. So while this is attractive for retirees, and we're one of the top places for people to retire to, we also have this whole industry of workers that we need. Half of our kids in our Sarasota County School District are on free and reduced lunch. When you tell that to people, they kind of look at you like, well, that can't be. You're one of the wealthiest communities. And then you're like, well, but who's working here to make this a place that you want to be? And there are many hospitality professions, the restaurant business, the landscaping, your pool cleaners, it spawns industries like that, but they often aren't high wages. So how can we work with people?
Right. One of the things that came up at one of our sessions, which I had not thought through, was the housing crisis that we have here. And we're not just talking about people that are completely impoverished. We're talking about people that are trying to work, they're trying to raise a family, and they have decent jobs, but we have the costs of a large city almost. So I imagine it's almost like working in Manhattan.
And people move farther and farther away. Then they have to drive. That clogs our roads. So we're all pulling, and this isn't going to be solved by one community foundation. So working with our county and local governments, our other foundation partners in town, we're all chipping away at this. We're in the midst of the foundation with other foundations, spearheading a study to really understand how many units do we have, how many are in the pipeline, how many do we need, but have much better data that we think will hopefully be a catalyst for, come on, this is serious.
Right. So this data dashboard is really important. And I'm very excited that I think you launched it at the Gen 2 Summit, which I do want to talk about that. But in terms of the dashboard, people can go to the website
cfsarasota.org, and it's easy to find your way to the community dashboard.
And you can actually play with it and look things up, and it's very intuitive. I think they did a wonderful job. I highly recommend you take a look at it. When you look at it, you may be surprised about some of the stats. It's quite interesting, and it's all data driven. And when you start looking at the data, it's very apparent where we need to start putting more help.
For me, having that data and understanding where needs are, opportunities to strengthen community, and then our giving partner database is like, well, who's working on this issue, and how can we work together with like-minded mission to nonprofits so they see collectively you're doing your part for your mission. However, you're collectively trying to move things forward for more opportunities.
So I love all that. And I have to tell you, I participated in the to Gen Summit. It was mind blowing. It was a fabulous event where you brought in all these not for profits. And I can't remember the lady that actually said it, but what she said was to me the whole entire story. She said, when I first started here in my not for profit, it was all about our not for profit against all the other not for profits. We were all very myopic in terms of the way we approach things. We just wanted to get our successes done. And with the help of the Community Foundation, we found ways to partner with each other and to address the issues much more holistically and comprehensively. And when she said that, I said, that's why we're here all week.
The more we can bring people together, and whether it's the same sector, if you will, or different ones, it's been really exciting to see. And our 2Gen is 2 generations. We partner with the Aspen Institute and their Ascend division there. And it really is, we do the campaign for grade level reading to get all kids reading by the 3rd grade level at the end of 3rd grade. And we thought, well, yeah, we want to work on that. It's such a marker for success in life, that 3rd grade reading. At the same time, let's also work with their families, often a single mom. So our 2Gen work really is intentionally working with families, however that family is defined for that child. It might be a grandparent or an aunt and uncle, or so how can we work intentionally with both kids and their families to get to that place? And they tend to be families with lower incomes to have that financial, it fits in with what you try to do. Obviously, let's get to financial stability, security, to be able to live life a little less stressed. And we work a lot with the parents, and we have a parent advisory group that let's go to the people living with lived experiences. We may have great ideas, but if we aren't touching base and having guidance from those that are living it. So our parent advisory group has really helped us shape what our strategy is. One of our moms that I've known for a long time, she has taken such advantage and worked hard of educational opportunities that we've scholarshiped her with. So now she has her medical, like technology degree. I can't remember exactly what it is, but she's continued to go to school to advance her career opportunities. She now is head of quality control for a medical supply company, has people reporting to her. She has 5 kids. She and I went out to dinner a few weeks ago, and we were talking. She is now in line, she's going to get a habitat house. She is going to be a homeowner. We are at dinner and she said, I want a 401k. They don't have it at my business. And I like high-fived her. She is juggling so much in her life, but she understands.
Tell her she can still get an IRA.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yes, so that's wonderful. You have several stories like that, right?
Well, one story I love, and I think you may have heard this, is we were supporting a summer program at Boys and Girls Club. And I went to tour it to see what was happening and read to the kids. And one was a computer room, and one little girl there, and Kirsten was with me. Look, her name is Roxana, and my given name is Roxanne. So I went over to talk to her, and she had headphones like this. She takes them off, and I said, "Hi, my name is Roxanne. I go by Roxie." And every question I asked her, she said, Roxana, Cuba. So I realized she doesn't speak English. She has just come here from Cuba with her mom, and her father was here. And so fast forward the next year. In the meantime, her mother had been a nurse in Cuba and was trying to get some documentation to continue and try to she did get licensed. We helped her go to school. She's now a physician's assistant.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's amazing. She's an American citizen. She is now a physician's assistant. So Roxana, a year later, is just flirting around with all these kids, fluent in English. She's a straight A student. She's now a sophomore at Sarasota High
Oh, that's
School.
wonderful.
So we get
Yeah.
together for her birthday every year. It turns out her mom had been a home health aide for one of our donors. So we all go out to lunch for Roxana's birthday. We just did it in early June to celebrate her 16th birthday. I got invited to her 15th birthday celebration as well. But the father went through a program that we fund at Unidos now of learning the American educational system. And he needed some work with his English. So that was part of it as well. So we've touched the family, but they have just, they have the great home. The mom's now this physician's assistant, and her two older brothers are in the medical field, one to be a physical therapist and one to be a nurse.
Fabulous. We need them.
We need them in healthcare in particular. But I love having this relationship with, she's not little Roxana anymore, but just watching her grow into a confident, smart young woman.
I bet that must be so rewarding. Is that what you find the most enjoyable? Are there any other aspects of your role that you've
Oh my goodness. Well, I love the people that I'm privileged to get to meet from all aspects of what this work entails, from the mom
Right.
I was sharing.
And you are
with
such a
you.
diplomat. I love the way you bounce around a room and talk to everybody. And each person that you talk to feels special because
Well, they
you,
are special.
well, and you help them feel that way. And you just have a way with people.
Blessed to do this work. And yes, from working with nonprofits and getting your hands dirty, helping volunteer or do something with them, or watching something we funded in action, to working with estate planning attorneys who work with wealthy people, to working with wealthy individuals and hopefully inspiring them and helping them find their focus and what they want to accomplish with their philanthropy. So working in just all spectrums of our community for me has been extremely rewarding. So
I bet. So somebody that's listening to this conversation, they said, I've always wanted to do something. I never really felt that I had the capacity or the time. How would you recommend that somebody that hasn't really done anything get started?
truly, just looking at the giving partner is a great way to kind of explore. There's lots of ways you can sort that information. Do you care about what's happening with our youth? Is it education? Is it arts, the environment? What is happening? Here, you can start to see organizations, and then we're happy to be of counsel, if you will, on helping people understand, is there a volunteer, or I want to serve on a board? What areas interest you? And we can clearly also be a resource for giving money as well, but time and all the talent somebody has can make a difference. Sometimes you just need somebody to be your guide.
So you do have exercises, tools to help somebody determine what is meaningful to them, where it all starts. In my mind, everything starts with values, right? What are your values? How do you want to spend your time on this earth? How do you want to spend your resources on this earth? Where do you want to focus? Where do you want to take your life?
Absolutely. So we do begin with helping people understand the values that they would love to see translated somehow into some charitable good. So we have questions and just a conversation, and people don't even always know what they are themselves. So it's just met with a gentleman that came, his estate planning attorney recommended he come talk to us, and he came in and said, well, this is what I care about. The more we talked, oh, but I care about that, and gosh, yes, that's something. So he left going, well, I didn't even appreciate. He came in like, well, I very successful businessman, this is what my wife and I care about. But it was so fun to go down all these different paths, and we ended up, he kind of didn't care about what he said he cared about at the beginning. But as we talked more and what were his values, we were able to uncover things that really were more aligned for him.
Right. Okay. And a lot of people that might feel, okay, I might be charitably inclined, but I'm not sure if I have enough while I'm living right now, there still is the answer. Okay, fine. You don't feel comfortable now. There are ways of incorporating that through an annuity type of product, through a charitable organization, or maybe you don't want to do that, but you at least include a charity in your will. And if you're not exactly sure what charity, the charitable foundation is great because they will make sure that the money goes to the right places.
And we work with so many individuals and estate planning attorneys, and what the attorneys and what we like. And as you know, we have a general counsel on our staff that makes sure our fund documents, which are legal documents, really reflect what somebody cares about. And they can modify them throughout their life at no charge. But we've learned, have a percentage of your estate, if you're charitably inclined, come to the community foundation. So it's just one. And then we can help distribute it to multiple nonprofits, to areas you care about. So we simplify it for everyone, and we're a great resource on the nonprofit community. So it really, the estate planning attorney isn't necessarily a nonprofit expert. So they like being able to refer people to us to work with their clients on that aspect of their financial life.
Yes. The Community Foundation does a great service for the community. I am so happy to be part of it. I feel humbled and honored. We've talked about a lot of things. Roxie, I think I could talk to you for another 2 hours. Is there anything that you want to say to our listeners?
Get involved. And even if this can hopefully be a motivator to someone, like, gosh, I've been thinking about whether it's more my charitable planning in my life, my giving right now, or volunteering. I mean, there's so many avenues. And, you know, as we both know, sometimes it's hard just to get started and take that first step. So know that we're a great resource, starting with our website. It's great to explore and learn a lot. And
So
then
there's a lot on
we
there.
have people you can talk to, and we pride ourselves on being really good listeners, asking good questions to help you on this path.
And every little bit counts. So don't
Absolutely.
discount anything. It all counts and it's all appreciated. Yeah. All right.
Before we do, we also work a lot with families who want to get their kids, their grandkids involved. So that's another opportunity for people to think about as well.
Wonderful. Yes. In fact, that whole idea when I was talking about giving money through a will, that I've actually done with a few people and is a part of my will, is the idea of starting something that my heirs, my children will continue to be involved in, is a wonderful way of bringing the family together in a very positive way.
And we have what we call successor advisors that can take over assets in a fund or charitable dollars to continue what their parents started as well. So we work with a lot of families that now we're in the second generation.
At an affordable amount. I don't want to make people think that they have to have millions and millions of dollars. It can be done very efficiently with not as large of a pile. So
Right. Right.
keep that in mind. All right. So if somebody wants to reach you, again, the website is
www.c like in community, F like in foundation, Sarasota.org.
Okay. So I want to encourage everybody to reach out, learn a little bit more about what they're doing in our community. Certainly very inspirational, and things that we should all be happy that it's being done. So thank you for listening to us. Thank you so much, Roxie, for being part of this. Really appreciate it. And until next time, we'll see everybody. Thank you. And bye-bye.
Thanks so much for joining us on this episode of Money Matriarchs with Dr. Laura Mattia. If you like what you've heard and found it helpful, please like and subscribe to the show so we can inspire all women to harness the power of money for good. Stay inspired, and we hope you'll join us again in the next episode of Money Matriarchs.